think the Federal Reserve should begin reducing the interest rates? Your 45 seconds starts.
Man, I would say as far as reducing it, I don't think they should do anything at all. I think they should just leave things alone, see how things work out, right? See in 6 months, 9 months, 12 months if everything they've done has worked. Because right now all they're doing is just creating uncertainty. And if there's one thing that kills any business, any market, it's uncertainty. If we could just leave things alone, let everyone know this is the way it's going to be for the next 12 months, let everyone plan accordingly, and then we'll see whether raising the rate this whole time has worked.
Okay. All right. A couple seconds to spare. Let's go over to Eric Brewer. Your thoughts?
Oh my goodness. I think the tough part about this is when the Fed got involved, nobody on this call was positively impacted, right? Like at the end of the day, interest rates specific to real estate has had an overarching negative impact. But unselfishly, what I would say is the Fed should continue to adjust interest rates as long as it's making the proper corrections. Like all they're really doing is it's forced unemployment. That's it. Rates will drive unemployment. You saw 11,000 people got laid off by Meta. What happened is, for me, I sell a lot of turnkey properties, wholesale properties. My buyer got laid off, and they won't be a seller of mine for another 6 months. So I think they should continue to do it as long as it's making the impact that is desired, even though it's tough for us to swallow.
All right. Perfect timing. Brewer's back to his right. Leon G. Barnes, your thoughts?
Eric's right. This is a tough one. When inflation starts heading down is when we should start making, any changes. But it is tough coming from a real estate perspective because we've gone so far the other way. But this is why we ended up here with super low rates. We've had this conversation a couple of times that we've just been hit over the head so many times over the last 30 days again, 30 days. Everything that I've read and that I have seen is that you'll start to see that slow down Q1, maybe even into Q2. But the answer ultimately it's actually good for society to be able to afford things. Inflation has gone crazy, and this is the only way that the Fed knows how to do it. So my answer is just when things start heading down, prices especially, it starts heading down consistently.
Okay. And CJ, bring us home.
Yeah. Look, I just give a couple fast thoughts, I guess. If we all want to be really, really brutally honest, it's working, right? Inflation was at, I believe, like 9.7% or something like that. It's been reduced down by 2% so far. It's at 7.7% right now. The Fed has literally said back in August, I believe it was, that they will not stop raising rates until they're able to curb inflation. So I think this thought concept right now that all of a sudden they're going to stop increasing the rate just isn't realistic. We have seen some tangible results as a result of them doing it. I think there's going to be a lot of bloodshed in the process. I think there's going to be a lot of impact to us in real estate. People in the economy in general are already starting to lose jobs, opportunities. We're seeing massive layoffs across Fortune 500 companies. That's going to start to trickle down economically into local businesses, things like that, man. So I think it's working, but who it's working for may be a different conversation.
Yeah, and they're talking about, right, do another half point in next month. So, I mean, for me,
right.
I think the biggest thing, I wish they would just rip the Band-Aid off and just raise it 3 points back in June and then just see, let the chips fall where they may. But this thing where they were just going to keep increasing without checking feedback, without allowing time for feedback is what's killing us. Because now we're inserting all sorts of uncertainty. And that's, again, I think that's what's hurting so many people.
Weren't they hoping, Steve, that if they did it gradually, things would start to slow down, but that wasn't happening. So to hit us over the head with that 3 points at that particular time, I think people would have criticized the government for going too fast, immediately.
They still have. They've been getting criticized for going too fast, doing it in increments of a half to 3/4 of a point.
They were damned if they do, damned if they don't. So if you're going to be damned either way,
right.
Just go hard. Go all in.
Yeah, there's no... Go ahead, Leon.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, it was needed. The market in which we've lived in since COVID is not normal. That's not a normal world. And if you look at the price of everything, I don't care how much you make, you're feeling the effects of inflation in your life at some level, especially, like his juice right there. It's smoothie.
What do you
king.
think this cost today on DoorDash? No additives. Right?
$9.
Is plain Jane. Leon's, he's my man. Everybody know who Cliff Clavin is from Cheers back in the day. By the way, it's exactly $9, and that's what he said. The
York.
dude is remarkable.
In York, whereas the most backwards in Pennsylvania, that's $9.
Yeah, I don't even think they put York on the map. There's no dot. There's no dot. It says York on the map.
No, but we all feel it. I don't care what your level of income is. You feel it at some point. So it's needed. And if we're going back to the real estate perspective, we had a call today where we were talking about this. Real estate is still happening, even with interest rates at 7.5%. People are still buying deals. I put a house on the retail market last week, and we had 3 offers in 24 hours. So people are still buying. Activity is still there. Obviously, it's down. But if we're speaking from a real estate perspective, you just have to be better, quite frankly. I mean, this is not what it used to be, where you put a house on a contract and they immediately sell. Just be better.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
the market deserved a pullback. I mean, let's just be honest, right? Like if values went up 140% over the last couple of years and the market pulls back 40%, it sounds like it's still a decent market to me. Yeah. Like that's the reality of what we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
It's not like prices went up a valuation of 5 to 10%. Now the market's pulling back 40, 60%. And so the reality of the situation to me is this, right? Like the market is our pricing, I think, is going down nationally. 19 consecutive weeks, I think was the stat. It's just something that we haven't been used to in 10 years, right? Over 10 years, 13, 14 years at this point. And so how many people are realistically still in the business from 14 years ago? Not a ton of people. Not a lot of people have seen what's happening right now.
Only the people in here. The only 4.
Right. I don't think we're in a terrible market right now. I just sold a house today. It was instead of a $20,000, $30,000 typical wholesale fee we get on this type of property, it was $10,000. Right. So that has impact to operations. That has impact to bottom line profit, all of that. But things are still happening and transacting for sure.
Did you let RJ negotiate that deal for you, Chris? you let me or Steven on that, you'd have kept your 20.
If I had let RJ listen, if I had sent it to Titanium, man,
you're out of business.
I'd be paying the seller to buy the wholesale deal.
Out of pocket, you'd have to burr it. That's what I tell my people. Anytime they tell me it's a good rental, anytime they tell me it's a good rental, I go, so what you're saying is you overpaid.
Yeah, if RJ locked it up, it's best as an Airbnb. This is a great Airbnb opportunity.
Yeah.
Shout out to RJ.
Nice job,
hey, some people really did well still. That CJ may have needed a loss. Maybe bring in RJ for that loss.
And that's the person to call when you need an L, man. That's the person to call when you need an L right there.
On LJ.